I don't want to overreact, but this might have been my favorite MSI that we've watched since 2019. And obviously, that's going to come at the expense of Europe, the praise of North American teams who I think performed overall very well. Even though Korea won this tournament again, third straight MSI that they've been able to take under this format, I walk away positive. I think the biggest thing is I'm looking forward to Worlds as a result of it. Like, MSI is always a great tournament, but to me, for those that are Call of Duty fans, you'll understand this. It's felt like Major 4 in a way, where this is a very important event. There's not, like, I'm not taking anything away from winning it. Obviously, it's a step on the golden road and beyond. But especially when Worlds is in North America, it is a stepping stone, because the moment this tournament is done, you realize it is our time to shine as a region, and we get Worlds here in prime time. I can get normal sleep again and beyond. Like, I cannot wait, and that excitement, I promise you, will be shown through in the content here. So as we get into these takes, I asked on Twitter, I don't want to overreact, but give me your takes. MSI's wrapped. Let's go through them. And do me a favor before we get into this, be sure to subscribe and like the video. Helps with the algorithm a lot, and we're on the way to 10,000. Hopefully by the time Worlds wraps up, we will see. I've got one video take here from Con, I believe. So that'll be the one video one that I pull in and make sure that he gets his spot here. What do you got for me, Con?
I don't want to overreact, but in my feelings, BLG is the kind of winner of MSI. They went 1-1 against HLE head-to-head, and they actually have the better series head-to-head scoreline with 5 wins and only 4 losses. It's not their fault that this format doesn't have the idea of trying to get the best teams, but they have the better head-to-head record, and they're tied in series score record. Though they got punished because they picked the most useless 80 carry champ you possibly could in Game 5, Misfortune, and like everybody should know, that champion has a self-rooting ult that will get blown up easily if you have to do it in the mid or late game, and that's why they lost that series.
All right, first and foremost on the MF take, for those of you that don't know, Con is a notorious Misfortune hater, like genuinely cannot stand this champion. So even though I will make the argument that there are many situations, especially when you have Wombo combo, like an Amumu, like a Nautilus or beyond, you can lock somebody down and there's not as much threat for them to dive you in the backline. Yeah, it's fantastic. I think it actually works quite well. But there's many situations, especially in a meta like this MSI, where you have a lot of champions that can just ignore frontline and run straight past, that I do agree, I think it's a bit of an issue. So take the MF opinion with a grain of salt. As for the idea of this being like a BLG win, kind of, I kind of agree. Like, I know Hommy Life fans and Korean fans will be pissed, but look, this is the thing that I've warned about for a long period of time, that we have been lucky that the losers bracket team has not won up to this point. But this showcased exactly the problem that I personally have with double elimination. It does not feel good in any way to come out of this and be like, okay, BLG had a 5-4 record against Hommy Life. They split the series 1-1. We deserve to see more. My solution to this, the only thing that I can think of, and it doesn't feel great, but I think it's better, is the best of 7 with giving BLG a free win. That to me seems fair. Like, that to me is the most fair thing. And it's not like this is a struggle that only we are dealing with in League of Legends. Call of Duty, all 4 majors this year were won by the team that came from the losers bracket, because it was a best of 7 with no game 1 or given in like that. So I would prefer the bracket reset. I understand production value. It's impossible to do so, especially with the spectacle that they had today with the whole League Classic announcements and beyond. I know that's not possible. Hommy Life is obviously the winner of this tournament. They walk away with the victors. But this is my gripe with double elimination that I just do not care for. And it's why I'm happy that World's a single elim. I will continue to say that. I think the way we seed into it, some of the there's a take on here that we will get into shortly that discusses it. So it's not that I hate double elimination. I like how it's done. I like how this tournament flowed and was structured. But I think there needs to be something done about the finals. That's the biggest thing. Shauna Tonin, OPTSM fan, very relevant for the announcement that happened earlier today, says, I don't mean to overreact, but not only should the top 2 regions get 4 seeds, but their 4 seeds should not be in play-ins, and the lowest performing region should have their seed fill the vacant spot. So CB Lol 2 in this case, better league, better seeding. Papa Sean's. I agree. Like, this is my biggest gripe of Worlds. So these are the seedings as you're seeing them right now that we will have for the event. And what will happen is seed 4, because this is the champion region, so this will be the LCK's 4 seed, whoever they get, which could be T1 in this case. We will be getting the LPL 4 seed in play-ins, which, to be fair, the LPL 4 seed has a very long history of being fraudulent. Okay, so there's a clear world where the 3 seed from both Europe and North America, maybe the LCP didn't look great this tournament. Maybe they could do it. Okay, well, we saw the LCP 1 seed take a series, but you're dealing with the transitive properties between the regions. I agree. I 100% support that opinion that the lowest performing region, which in this case would be CB LOL should have their 2nd seed down here. That's it. Like, that should be the thing. CB LOL 2nd seed, they're the worst region in the world competitively. Again, I think you make the argument that they deserve 3 slots the same way that everybody else does. A whole different point. But that number 2 seed should go in play-ins, because now the expectation for play-ins is, barring an upset, which could happen, this team's just going to run over it. Whoever the seed 4 team is, like, they're going to be heavy favorites, and there's nothing you can do about that. So yeah, I agree. I don't like how we seed things in LoL esports a lot. This is one of them that it's like, it's just a pretty common sense change. I get they want China or the LPL in there. Like, that's the underlying reason, because it drives a lot of viewership. But no, give me any other version of this, please. Other than that, like everything else. I saw Hommy's tweet earlier, so let's see what he says here. He says, I don't want to overreact, but this Lyon team has already surpassed FlyQuest 24-25 in level, and I'm excited to see what they can do at Worlds on home ground. They have the potential to become the greatest Western team of all time. Sorry, I couldn't even finish the tweet. That's a statement. But we'll see what the future holds. Okay. Oh, interesting. So this gets into conversations around G2 2019 versus Lyon now, and how heavily you weight. They still haven't beaten an Asian team. I'm sorry, I can't do that unless they, like, in order for them to, like, get to that point, they have to defeat multiple Asian teams at Worlds. Because you look at the Worlds run that G2 had, they beat Korean team in the knockout stage of Worlds 2019, let alone T1 in MSI. Like, we've got none. We've got no wins against the LPL or LCK. We came close, which is why I think the first half of this, I actually do agree with. Like, I do agree that I think already they are at a point where we expect growth, and they are just barely above FlyQuest from 2024, 2025, who did push Gen G, the number 1 team in the world at that time, to 5 games. But Gen G also didn't win the tournament. And the same thing with BLG that they went to push later on. They didn't win the tournament. This is a Humble Life squad that Lyon pushed to 5 games and looked incredible doing so. That, to me, like, again, transitive property, so we're dealing with a lot of, assumptions here. I would agree with this. Now, the thing that scares me, that I'll use this specific comment to touch on, is I need to remind people, and we'll have a full video on this as we get closer to Worlds. Our track record on home soil is fucking atrocious. We are, to my knowledge, it's a very low bar to set. We are the worst performing region on home soil that I think LoL Esports has ever seen. Go back to 2022. We went a collective 3-15 in the Swiss stage, the group stage at the time. Nobody got out. 1 win across all 3 teams in the double round robins. It was bad. 2016, we have a team that's supposed to be one of the best in the world in TSM, and they choke. Okay, you can sit here and correct me if I'm wrong. That was the year that C9 also didn't make it to quarterfinals, when they made it like every year around that. So we didn't have a single team that made it out of groups there either. We have not gotten, in the last 2 times that North America has hosted Worlds, a team out of the group or Swiss stage, which is crazy given the potential that we're seeing right now for North American teams. But there's a part inside of me that, like, if Worlds was in any other country, on any other continent, I would feel more confident in both Lyon, in TL, in FlyQuest leveling up, and beyond. Like, I'm excited for this Worlds, but I am petrified underneath because of our track record. There's this part of me that is going to be scared until I see these teams show up and they play at the level that they're playing at right now at MSI. Worlds in North America has always delivered the greatest show, the greatest spectacle. The two best Worlds, in my opinion, in 2016 and 2022 were both here. And we have the chance to do that again. And it's shaping up to be the Wild West and just chaotic across all regions. But North America has to continue to improve. The level that we're at right now will not work at Worlds. So we got to all push each other, and hopefully we can get there. I love this take, the first half of it. I think it's actually very fair and very good. The second half, not so much. I think we're pushing and devaluing how much a win against Asia means specifically. Marn said, I don't want to overreact, but taking the East all the way is an easier task than maintaining form and locker room harmony following said series. Lyon now have to do what many top NA teams have failed to do, maintain this level and starting five going into 2027. That is a very fair point. I mean, 2027 feels like a stretch. We've had 2-year projects consistently now within the LCS. There's no world, unless they blow up in summer, that Lyon doesn't remain the same. Maybe management, given their proclivity to bring in a extra player for EWC because of their underperformance early on in the year, maybe that pushes change, and that's on Lyon management, not necessarily the Lyon starting five, who probably do want to stay together. But the thing that I do worry about for this Lyon roster, not to make this whole thing negative, I'm obviously very positive in general about North America and going into the future. Lyon's schedule is atrocious. I highlighted this on Twitter the other day, and I can pull up the tweet now, actually. Yeah, here it is. Assuming Lyon makes North America, like LCS finals, their first Saturday that they will have off is going to be October 10th. And they've already been going for an international event here. Second they won spring finals, they immediately flew out and started training as well. They have not had a break, and they will not get one for an additional 3 months. And again, that one Saturday that they have off, they're going to be prepping for Worlds. There's no break for this squad at all. So I think best case scenario, 100% is agreed. They need to stay together going into next year. But I am worried about burnout come summer for Lyon and for TL. TL doesn't have to play in EWC, so they get a little bit of a break. They get like a week and a half. But FlyQuest has had time to relax, to rest. They're going to be able to hit summer hard and not have any burnout towards the end. When everybody's running out of gas, which we typically see come summer playoffs, where some teams just start crumbling down the stretch, they're going to have every bit in the reserves. Plus, they're young, they're hungry, and beyond. So, like, the calendar is against Lyon. It is against every top team, to be very clear. And this doesn't just apply to LCS. This applies to Hommy Life. This applies to BLG, to G2. All of these teams that are just going to be going straight all the way through. And for those top teams, it's one of the reasons why I think you could potentially see like a DRX style run for Worlds this year, because you're going to have a team that comes in that did have a little bit more time to rest and relax and just take it all, because they have reserves at the end. Gen G is the one that I'm looking at like, oh God, you're giving them time off, which they don't normally get. Oh, if they come back and are firing and they win the LCK, oh, that's terrifying. I mean, it's in their best interest not to. I don't know if I can't remember the last time an LCK champion has won Worlds, because you had DRX and then you had T1 and they hadn't won a title during any of those stretches. So it's in their best interest to actually lose finals to Hommy Life. But regardless, that's all I'm saying, is that is very much a possibility. Meander says, this MSI was one of the worst tournaments in terms of mechanical prowess and is mainly a matter of how every Eastern team performed. The West has and will still have a real chance at making international placements, and it's a chance we didn't have since at least 4 years. I would say this, for those that were not around for 2018, the parallels to 2018 right now are crazy, because the mage bot meta has shaken everything up so heavily. And I think that's why this MSI felt weird and why you're seeing a lot of people complain. This feels very similar and very reminiscent to Reckless benching himself for Bwipo to come in because Bwipo could play the top lane champions that ended up making their way to relevancy in the bot lane. Like, this is a very out there take, but there's a world where I could see APA, now that Cloud9 has Loki, playing ADC at various different points for C9 because he's great with the Ziggs. He's great with some of these champions that are currently meta in the bot lane. I'm just saying this type of meta has thrown LoL esports for a loop. And while Hama Life comes in winning MSI and being the favorites, I agree. I don't think anybody truly like understands the full draft mechanics of where we can go by the time Worlds happens. Plus, we're obviously going to have meta shakeups. You'll have Locke come in, who will also be strong. Like there will be things that change. But if mages in the bot lane stay relevant all year, it flips LoL esports on its head. It has in the past. It will again because the Korean teams hate it. They are less likely to experiment, Gumayusi being one of the few exceptions. Most of the other top players in the LCK want to play the hyperscaling ADCs and the hyper carries, not the mages. And it then flips priority to other parts around the map, which Worlds has always been mid-jungle heavy favored, but it becomes even more so, but also throwing in top lane as well. Because top lane now with level 20, they just can take over games. We've seen it multiple times, even with some of the minor regions. I think the Volibear top, that was just an absolute juggernaut. If he had a team around him for, was it TSD? Yeah, I think it was TSW. They would have won that game. Like, there are going to be top lane carry performances that I feel like break out come Worlds, which is also where the Shy made his statement debut with IG on the world stage where they won. I just have a good feeling about this being very 2018 coded, both in terms of the upsets that could happen, the meta, the craziness, and then you throw all that on North American soil. It's just, dude, it's going to be peak. I'm telling you, it's going to be peak. I'll tackle this one real quick. Defunder says there were too many 3-0s due to draft differences caused by fearless teams that were better prepared for the permutations, often won games in 3 drafts. Format is somewhat to blame, but there's no, the reason for the 3-0s is because the meta was so drastically different than what we've seen in the past. And because of that, teams that understood it, or teams that at least had an idea of how they wanted to play, whether into the meta to counter it or alongside of it, really took things home. And we saw that as the tournament went on. Like, you look at the upper bracket, it was a 3, like, BLG crushed Hama Life the first time around. Lyon got demolished by BLG. G2 gets demolished by Hama Life. It looks like there's a clear 2, but everywhere else, as people started to understand it a little bit more, it got closer. And the rest of the tournament was very, very close, barring G2 line. So it's like, I blame meta permutations happening, yes, but it's teams not necessarily knowing how to play it while also trying to catch up in the gaps. Like, it's an amalgamation of issues. It is not just due to Fearless. Like, that's not it. I'm sorry, and I want Fearless to stay. I'm never taking any takes, or not taking any takes. I'm never validating the opinion that Fearless needs to go. Sorry, I love it. It's here to stay, and I want it forever. Oh, yes, I was hoping somebody would do this. I was praying. I'm curious. I do want to see real quick. This is like super like stalker-ish, but I want to see, where is this person from? The Netherlands. Perfect. I knew it. Europeans, you're not going to like this take, but that's fine. I don't give a shit. League is entering its second golden age, but this Worlds will have low viewership. Riot will panic and remove all things because of the lower region competition this year, such as MSI boot camps and America's Cup. No. First and foremost, the low viewership is always a European opinion that comes in whenever Worlds or international events are in North America, because the time zone sucks for them. And it's actually decent for Asia because they can wake up early the same way that we do for European tournaments. But Europeans complain out the ass for events, specifically in North America. And it's glorious because, again, North America gets fucked the most out of everybody. China and Korea tournaments are at impossible hours for us. And you can't sit here and say, quit complaining. I'm putting out an obnoxious amount of content for many people while trying to maintain a full-time job and do all of this with games starting at 4 a.m. and at my time 1 a.m. as well. Like, no, you don't get to talk when 50% of our tournaments are like that. 25% of them, or whenever our tournaments start at 11 a.m., so we're all at work and doing things, we get 25%. Only 25% of LoL esports at a time that we are not working and not asleep, which is crazy. Like for Europe, at least you get 25% where you absolutely cannot watch it. China and Korea, manageable for you. And then your time zone as well, like 75% of it's manageable. Even if you include the 25% of international tournaments that are manageable for us, that's 50% at best. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's 75% for China and Korea, 50% for you guys, 25% for us. Do not complain about the time zones. And viewership will be fine, as it historically has with 2016 and 2022. 2022 dips. Yes, you're not expecting these massive peaks, but it's not that low of a dip. It's really not. Like, it's over-exacerbated, specifically by Europeans, but by a lot of people outside of America every time we have an international event here. It will be fine. I promise you it's fine, and Riot's not worried about it because we are also the largest money-making region in terms of sponsorship, activations, and beyond. That was a sentiment that was said back in 2022. It will still exist now. So I better not see Europeans bitching and complaining 24/7. I'm not saying you are, Alfreizo. I'm just projecting, where you're from onto everybody else because I've already started to see the opinion pop up. I better not see Europeans really lash out about this because you can suck it up for one Worlds and deal with it. As for the removing of other stuff, no, that's not happening. Like, I'm sorry, it's not happening. I saw this tweet earlier. I don't want to react, but Extremeparrot says, Lyon is now top 10 teams tier list. It's been a while since the LCS was there. Are they? Hold up. Have the listings updated? For the record, Hommy Life should not be 1. Even though they won this, they should be 2 because BLG won first stand and has the overall. Yeah, okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah, we are. Holy shit. So the current top 10 is BLG, Hommy Life, Gen G, T1, G2, Lyon. I completely get G2 being above us. We beat them in one series, but their overall placements are definitely higher, so that's fair. Top esports, JDG, KT, AL, Carmichael. Where's Team Liquid at? We are still somehow behind FlyQuest. Sure, whatever. Can't factor that out, I guess. Whatever it is, what it is. But yeah, Lyon top 6. That makes sense. Like, genuinely. This top 7 here, perfect. Perfect. And for power rankings, for those that don't understand how this works, it is again an amalgam, or I used that word earlier. It is a combined total of events over the course of 2 years. I forget what the weighting specifically is, but Jat and Vedius talk about this a lot. I'm also very happy that we are getting the AWS Global Power Rankings into the relevancy of conversation because we can eventually use this for seeding if we perfect it. And Jat is apparently working to fix some of the flaws on this. Oh, this is great. Lyon should be top 6. TL, I can make the argument, might be ahead of a few of these, but again, because we don't beat Asian teams, I don't think it's fair to put us up there until we win that series. Then we'll catapult pretty heavily. But I do want to see region strength where we're at. So the LPL sits ever so slightly above the LCK. This might actually update. Oh, this has not, never mind. This has not updated at all for Hommy Life winning this event, even though it's showing here. So the LCK will surpass the LPL and BLG tomorrow. So the LCK number 1, LPL number 2. We are just barely behind Europe, which we should be ahead of them, but it's because of the LEC or G2's performances against the LCK that bumps them up. And then we are solid there. All right, I'm fine with that. Shit, I'm fine with that. I think that's overall fair, even if we should be above the LEC, but I get, again, historical precedent. G2 has enough wins over other regions that are higher ranked to pull them up. So fair. I'm not going to fight it, but just know head-to-head, Europe, we still beat your ass. All right, I've been recording for 27 minutes. I'm going to do one more take. I'm going to find one more that I really like and go from there. I do want to say I don't have time for this take. I've already been talking long enough, but I do want to talk about League Classic at some point. The TSM CLG show match just got announced last night. We will talk about that the week of LCS beginning. There's so many other things right now going on with International League, including EWC starting in just 3 days, that I just want to save this. Even if League Classic looks hype, I'm saving it. Bro, I'm so lucky. In the time that I've been talking, this take came in as an extended text, and I want to give a massive shout out to Flash because this is awesome, and I think it deserves to be read. While I'm sure both LCS orgs, fans, and haters will just ignore it or write it off as a fluke in favor of getting more imports rather than native talent, Isles and Dokla's growth through MSI is something to be commended and praised, especially since HLE were praising Lyon. You guys, I'll have this on screen the entire time that you guys can go through and read this. But the biggest sentence here, I think if anything, the takeaway should be that even some LCS players normally ignored and or written off can compete against the East when given enough time and support, and not immediately discarded for not being as good as imports right away. I agree with this. There's one thing that I would say, and is that we are lucky to have Inspired and the leader that he is. I think Spawn and ThinkHard are great leaders in terms of coaches elsewhere, but we do need like those veteran players to help guide North American talent that might need picked up a little bit, or at least like veteran players have a vision of the game and how it should be played and how these guys can improve. But other than that, yeah, I want to come at everybody. This is me overreacting to every one of you that sat here in the offseason and were like, dude, you're just sucking off Dokla. You're so heavily favored for Dokla because of his optic days. Like, what the... Dude, his growth this tournament. Like, I know people were flaming him early on, but his growth was insane. Isles, I doubted as well. I have to own up to that. He played amazing. These are players that have been in our region that we write off, or, well, Isles is Australian but gets North American residency because of the merger that happened there. Regardless, it is proof that, yes, North American talent can go up against the best teams and players in the world. And I don't want to see GMs going down this rabbit hole again of over importing because they think that NA players can't do it. That's not saying that every North American player will. It's our responsibility to make sure that we are actually trying to educate them, to grow them, to make sure that they are able to evolve into their proper form, because Dignitas sure as hell didn't do that whenever they had Isles on their squad for 2 years. But then he comes to Lyon and immediately gets better. We need to look at the systems that we are forming, which is why I want Dylan Falco in North America so badly now that G2 has removed him. I didn't get any takes on that, but I'm sure we'll talk about it as time goes on. I want to see more North American players on these rosters. I do. And allow them the chance to pop off. Because Dokla, the guy that everybody has told me is ass, sits here and performs really well when it matters most. Come on. Miss me so much with the shit that NA players can't do it. GMs, I'm looking at you. You all, Dokla nearly didn't have a spot this year. You all passed up on. The only reason he got it is because Zamudo unfortunately had visa issues. Every top team should be looking at themselves that needed a weak side top laner and just saying, wow, okay, so this guy actually can play when you need him to. And you haven't been able to beat him domestically. So what are you doing? What are you doing? And it's a lot of validation for me that my idea of like roster building, roster construction, and like what I want to see from orgs, like it can work and it is right. So I'm so happy with how Lyon performed, how the individual players stepped up, and how North America represented ourselves on the international region. And I want to see more NA players. I'll be honest, I pray to God that FlyQuest makes Worlds this year. I think it would be so big for them and for this region, and I hope it happens. Anyways, that's going to be it for me. I got to edit this down, get it ready, get it sent out for you all. Hope you have a great week. Wednesday, I'm going to be doing Good Morning North America again, but for EWC and a little less formal. I know there's a lot of people that don't want to watch this tournament. That's perfectly fine. I'm going to watch it. I'll provide a highlight here for you as best as I can. But because games go, it's in Paris time. It starts early in the morning for us, but wraps up midday. I will try to have that out by like 8 o'clock each night for you. So you can catch up on it and see it as you go to sleep, and then wake up in the morning and see what's happening the next day. And then come the weekends when the tournament's wrapping up, because this tournament only lasts Wednesday to Sunday, I'll be able to do everything in real time. So that's pretty much it. Thank you all to everybody that submitted their takes. Thank you all to everybody that I didn't get to on this. I will try to have another one of these sometime soon. Maybe midway through the summer split, but I don't want to do another one right before we start because I feel like we've already got like enough takes. Or maybe I do one isolated to the LCS. I don't know. We'll see. Either way, thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe and like the video down below. I'll catch you around. Bye-bye.